What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another SLA video. Guys, let's go and talk about gaining power. This is a video we always do when times are a little bit slower and there is something to look forward to in the next upcoming month. We all know, obviously, WOBL hard mode is on its way, and this one was no slouch. This has actually been one of the tougher WOBLs, and I've gone ahead and made a guide for you guys on all normal modes that's free to play, so everybody has the ability to conquer that now with what you currently have. Hopefully that's the goal. So how do you prepare yourself for hard mode? What's the best way currently in game to gain power, and what's the fastest way to do it? So we're going to go over all of those options for you guys, give you guys the ability to get yourself prepared for hard mode if you are planning to do that, and what the best route is in order to beat that mode. Now, a couple things I want to talk about real quick when it comes down to hard mode. It is next month, so be prepared for that for sure. Another thing to remember as well too with hard mode is they give you top 1,000 to top 6,000 to get skins and other things such as borders and avatars. Just remember, it's not meant to be for the majority of people to finish. Heavy whales, some dolphins, very small amount of free to play are able to do it, but everybody always gives themselves, you know, the chance to do so. So we're going to give you guys the chance to do so. I've done it every single time with my free to play, and I'll tell you guys what I've been doing up to this point. And right now, honestly, I won't lie to you guys, it has been a lot more difficult lately to gain power. You guys can see my power is only at 3.518. I feel like it's not going to be ready for hard mode quite yet. But with that being said, next month we are supposed to get a brand new character, and I believe 2 new shadows and other things as well that will help us prepare for hard mode. So by then we should see a larger army of shadows, which is going to be a big focus on this video, as well as other things as well too. So 2 new shadows should bring our army up quite a bit, and so make sure, guys, you have been doing all of your army stuff, whether it's gathering through the enforcers or whether it's gathering through gates, whatever the case may be. Shadow army is going to be your best friend. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the best ways to gain power. First off, shadows. Your main focus. Quite honestly, it's going to be your main focus. It's the easiest and fastest way to gain power, right? You guys can see I got 1.594 power in my total army here. And essentially the way this works is the more army level you have, the more power you get. Most of you guys know how this works already. If you level up your army rank to general, that will increase your ability to gain your army as well, in which you use your shadows in order to get yourself more power. Outside of that, there's a couple other ways to gain power. Of course, is through the growth upgrade, through the weapon upgrade, and then of course lastly through the skill upgrade. Skill upgrade is the most expensive portion of this outside of the army level itself. So this one here, it's going to take you some time, but try to push everyone evenly to level 7. All right, now something else that affects the army of shadows that's not listed here is gems. Gems are actually a big part. So anything that's a percentage gem, as long as you have a shadow with a weapon activated, the percentage gem will give you more shadow power as well. So make sure, guys, when you're going in to your gem section, you definitely go in and give yourself all of the proper appropriate gems that you can that are considered percentage that will give you the most amount of powers to your shadows. Remember, that only affects it if you have the shadows weapon available. So that's the main thing to remember. So gems, if you want to know anything about gems, I've done a gem guide just recently. I'm not going to go too deep into it. So percentages are going to matter the most on this. And then over here, just do a combination of defense pen I guess defense pen and precision right now are the best way to go. I do have some crit damage here. Defense pen and crit damage are the same equal power as long as they're the same equal rankings. So it's up to you which one you want. More defense pen is worth more right now, but that could of course change in the future. But right now, even with the WOBL hard mode, defense pen is something you absolutely want to focus on and get that up. But for like defense itself, it should be percentages. For attack, it should be percentages, and also for your health, it should be percentages. So all that stuff matters, guys. So make sure for your gems, that's what you focus on. Okay, when it comes down to actual stats that you need for WOBL right now, the biggest thing is going to be defense percentage, as we mentioned earlier. Attack, of course, for Jinwoo, and then of course for your other main units, depending on their main attacks, that's what you want to focus on. But defense pen is your best friend. Crit should be a little bit higher because the monsters are a little bit higher, so your crit should be kicking around like 12k up to, I even push mine to 16 at some points due to the crit resistance that's available. But most importantly right now, guys, the main thing that really pushes your damage in any mode that is related to new content is going to be infusion. Okay, so what do you do with infusion? How do you get yourself prepared? So for stats for Jinwoo, before we go into infusion, I do everything in strength except for about 150 to 110 intelligence. Up to you which way you want to go, especially when you go in DPS status. But when it comes down to infusion, you absolutely want to focus on these skills. So right now, the main one that's going to help you the most is going to be Phantom Strike. That's the dark one, especially if you have Igris, right? Igris is going to be available in the next patch, I believe. So next patch, he should be available. So if you are going to be having a chance against this new mode with Sun Jinwoo stuff, especially, you're going to need to focus on dark and getting Igris up. So save your black tickets, guys, for that. Sun Ki-hoon is not required for this. So make sure if you are somebody who's looking to get Igris up, all your black tickets are safe for this. And then anybody who wants to even get remotely close to finishing WOBL hard mode, you're gonna have to get Mary up. Second boss is gonna be, I think, everyone's biggest hurdle to get through, and Mary is an important part of it. I have A0 Mary right now. I'm debating to push her to A1 just to get a little bit more out of her, and that probably will still end up happening. So you know what, for the sake of doing it, let's just do it. But then also don't forget the Sugimoto coming out next month. It will affect win, but the main thing to remember is in order to get top 1,000 to top 6,000, you don't need to finish Hunter mode, and that's all he's going to be used for in WOBL is Hunter mode, so don't worry about that. You won't need him, so try to get her up as well too. All right, next way to gain power, of course, is artifacts. Artifacts are going to be a very important part. Remember, one thing about artifacts is 8-piece artifacts give you more power every single time over 4 or 4 or 2 and 4, right? So 8-piece artifacts are your best friend, but don't sacrifice only TP for artifact, or don't sacrifice artifact usage for TP. That makes sense, right? If AP doesn't make sense for that fight, don't put on AP. Sacrifice a little bit of TP, put on better stats, put on better gear. So for example, Sun Jinwoo right now, I'm running the 2-piece armed and 2-piece infamy. That's useless. You don't do that. You go 4-piece armed for this one. This, I don't even know why this is on. I think it's just to gain a little bit more attack. Again, this was probably a mistake, to be honest with you. But yeah, this should be 4-piece arm and 4-piece expert, or 4-piece infamy, 4-piece expert, or you do 2 curse and 2 infamy. Those are the only real valid sets right now for him when it comes down to WOBL, but it should technically be, in my opinion, armed across the board. That's just always worked for me, and that's how it's always going to stay. So make sure, guys, you focus on AP sets if you need it to get more TP, but don't sacrifice the ability to do better with 4 and 4 versus 8. If you have to sacrifice a little bit of TP, it's fine, okay? Another way, of course, is getting your dupes up for weapons. So you guys can see the new weapons are out. They are a big part of this new WOBL, especially for Sun Jinwoo, especially revolving around this transfiguration key. So getting this to A5 is important, getting this to A5 is important, but you don't need to get it to A5. You can push these to A3, and again, as long as your TP is fine, you should be okay to do the TP being total power, by the way, guys. You should be okay to be able to at least get prepared, but getting your weapons up right now is a vital part of it. And I'm telling you now, without these 2 weapons, I don't think Moon Shadow Daggers and Plum Sword are going to cut it. We know the water weapons are definitely not going to cut it. So definitely get these up, guys, as fast as you can and as much as possible, right? So this should be another big part of your focus, is getting those weapons up, and then getting over to your skill research. This is one that not a lot of people focus on because it used to be very whaley, but now that we played the game long enough, this is something that everybody can absolutely focus on if you're a veteran, right? Especially if you're a veteran. So getting all of these up to a good level and then leveling them up through the infusion process, the amplification process, will allow you to get more TP, and this is an important part of the game, right, guys? TP matters quite a bit. So for example, let's just say I want to get more TP for this water skill, right? Let's say I put this in. Let's go and synthesize here. Now what you're going to see here is the skill rune amplification process, right? So that one went up, and if I go to skill rune amplification, let's say another version of this that I can level, I would, because then that would give me an extra bit of stats, and that at the end of the day is total power increase. So this is somewhere you absolutely want to focus on, guys, and one that is super important to try to get up. All of these matter. You guys can see I got my bloodlust at 2 because it's always being used. Sharp perception important, and also reawakening, very important. All these ones should always be focused on, guys, because they are going to help you push power beyond where you need to be, and TP is all that matters at the end of the day. I'm sorry to say, it still is the main factor in this game, and it will continue being the main factor in this game. All right, so there you guys go. Push power using that, of course, as well. Don't forget your cores, guys. Cores is another really big aspect of the game. If you can push to 20, you should push to 20. I know a lot of people think it's expensive and it's a lot of resources, but it's honestly, as minuscule as it sounds in regards to power increase, it still is one of the most important parts to get up, especially because your stats increase too, right? It's not just TP, you're also getting more stats out of this. It's not just fluff. So this is a very important one to make sure you focus on. Push them to 20. At the very least, try to get enough to 20 where you can, at the very least, have all your units that are important in WOBL be able to use those. It doesn't have to be the right element, just push them to 20. Remember also, for Sun Jinwoo, attack percentage matters. The rest is all flat stats, okay? Except for HP. HP percentages matter for some units, some it doesn't. So that's a very important one as well to remember. All right, so we've covered that. Now, Remnant power. if you can, while you're doing this, try to max these out. I'm currently working on Rock Pass. Obviously, you want to get Rock Pass as much as you can. Right now, he currently supports the following. He supports a supporter class, he supports elemental stacker, and he supports a striker. Literally everything you need in WOBL. So this is going to be your best friend when it comes down to actually getting through this. So make sure you do this, guys, as much as you possibly can to get as many of these stats up, and you'll probably want to use him for your own WOBL hard mode. That's going to be a big power increase as well too, and it's one that's going to be pretty important to at least equip the right unit with the right stats to help your stacker specifically do more damage slash accumulate faster, right? So that's an important one as well too. All right, and of course we have ourselves the Armory, the infamous Armory here. These you should be focusing on throughout the entire time. I'm getting everything from up to 8 right now, from 8 till 9, sorry. So you guys can see I've got another one right up there. It's not a super power increase, but hey, it's enough to make a difference. So make sure, guys, you are putting effort into this and getting these all the way across the board at the same levels, and then putting them to 10 at the end of the day, just to push that all the way down. And then that should be it for power increase, guys. There's really nothing else you can do right now to increase your power outside of that. One quick note, if you are doing cores, MP consumption reduction gives you the most amount of power gain. All right, so once you've done with the cores, remember MP consumption reduction gives you the most. Moving on to hunters. Of course, the simple things, guys, getting yourself dupes of hunters is always going to make a big difference. Do you need past A5? No, you don't, but it's important to remember that anything past A5 is a pretty big TP increase. Roughly looking about 3.5k each. Don't forget to push their weapons to as much as you possibly can to A10. That is going to be probably a bigger result for you. So getting that done is very, very important. So pushing these guys when they're dupes up is going to matter a lot. Right now, the main thing to focus on, of course, is your dark team, your water team to get past the second stage. And then, of course, getting yourself good dark units up in order to use them for WOBL hard mode for Sun Jinwoo. Right now, dark honestly doesn't really have a place in the WOBL currently. Wind does at the last stage, but again, it's not required to do top 1000. So focus on your water. So you should be really focusing on Cha, Mary, and honestly, if you have free run, you're going to be fine. I think if you have a good A5 free run, you should be fine. But if you don't have free run like I do, I'm using Sauron. So that'll be my top 3 right there. It'll be those 3 there in order to get the job done. Was able to do it with normal mode. We'll see if hard mode is going to be a different story, right? So that's an important one. And then lastly, guys, probably the next big thing that everybody really needs to put focus on, and honestly, I'm kind of guilty of this right now, is doing this. The library, right? The library is huge. And the biggest problem we're having with the library right now is getting enough characters to do the hardest mode as free to play, just because right now there's just not enough of it. So pushing the library is going to be your next main power source of gain. So getting this done, guys, and not being lazy and trying to getting your 12 characters to 3 points, I think it's 360k in order to do the hardest mode is probably your best bet to be ahead of the game here. So that's going to help you probably gain the most amount of TP currently in the new items that are out. Remember, you can reset for 2k. It is very expensive, but your water team is going to need a little bit of love here for you to actually be able to beat it. So you might have to sacrifice 2k. I really hope they change this to free once a month. I think it needs to happen for this to actually make sense, but 2k is super expensive, but it may need to be a requirement in order to actually get WOBL hard mode done and putting some points into water just to complete that second stage. All right, guys, that is pretty much it. Let me know if you guys have any other suggestions or if I missed anything, but thank you so much for watching as usual. Love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.